Welcome to the Sailplane Grand Prix Final. In Saint-Auban we have beautiful day.
Today I feel really good.
Because I did something wrong. Even for very famous pilots.
Okay.
It was a great day in Saint-Auban for the fourth race day, although we had a lot more cloud cover than previous days with some altocumulus and some difficulties maybe with upper cloud, which could affect the conditions, particularly on the east side of the track. A good start with Sebastian Carr and Mario leaving together, taking a more western route straight out of the start over the Leur. It was quite cloudy on the first leg, but there was good thermals underneath the cloud, underneath the overcast areas, and it was enhanced by the ridges which run all the way along the west side of the Durance Valley. The first leg was a question of jumping from one ridge to another. Two groups formed, but they soon came back together again on the way to the first turn, which was Aix on Diwa in the D Valley and the south end of the Vercors. Not so much cloud here enabled most people to climb quite well, and they formed back into one major group. Mario Kiesling pulling away a little bit, but it was pretty uniform conditions, and there was just a slight stretch in the competitors to this point. At Aix there were quite good conditions, but not a very good energy line to return out of Aix. We can see Mario turn first and headed straight for the Glandas, which is the south end of the Vercors. The cumulus formed into lines, and it changed a lot the wind low down, and so the ridges didn't work as well as they were expected to. However, most people managed to climb and onto the mountain just north of Aspres-sur-Bouche on Les Apotes, and noticeable by his absence was Mario, who got stuck before the col, having tried to use the ridges. A good climb here enabled everybody who was arriving at this point to climb to a good altitude of 2,400 meters before continuing on this leg towards the Barcelonnette Valley. Once they left this thermal, the Pic de Bœuf didn't work so well, and most people went direct to Colombis on the route to Morgon, except Bosjan in Delta Zulu, who took the Grand Berard and the northern route and followed that ridge all the way around and crossed to Morgon at the last minute. The run into Morgon was quite good. The clouds were breaking up and there was good conditions, but weak, not such strong thermals as previous days. The climb on the Morgon worked okay, and approaching, all of the gliders joined at one stage. As people left, more people joined underneath, and it was a good point to top up. From Morgon, it was a run down the Barcelonnette Valley on the north side. This was extremely weak, and it was quite slow. Nobody really gained any altitude, and those who got low going into this second turning point found that it was quite difficult to come out again. Several of the pilots, including Philippe de Pesci and Maximilien Seiss, they sank a little bit low on this point and never really climbed on the way out. It was just possible to stay along the ridge near the top if you were at that altitude, but if you were lower, it was really quite difficult. Into the turning point in the Barcelonnette Valley was first Sebastian. He was the second out though, as Bosjan had already been in and come out and onto the second leg. Bosjan took the turn at about 2,000 meters and Sebastian and Werner were lower. This allowed Bosjan to take a high route around the Pic de Bœuf but he didn't climb. Sebastian came out from the peak and he found a climb over the valley well to the south. Bosjan carried on looking for a lift, but it was quite overcast now and quite difficult conditions. Good strong wind from the south made the final glide a little difficult, but they had to get a little bit more altitude because they did not have the altitude to glide. Approaching the turn, Bosjan made 1,500 meters at the turn Sebastian was very close, breathing down his neck with 2,000 meters. Bosjan found a small lift, and he just made a few turns in small lift, and then he managed to keep ahead, 3 kilometers ahead for most of the time. The final glide was a very exciting final glide, with Sebastian closing up, but Bosjan always staying ahead. Bosjan finished first, and Sebastian finished second on this day. And a great flight by Bosjan, and a very exciting final glide.
What a race. Congratulations.
Yes.
How was it?
It was tricky. Mountains, weather, different winds, shadows, really tricky.
You went through Chabrière when you went back to the second point.
Yeah.
But when you came, so that was a very good option. But when you came back, you decided to go through.
Because there was shadow and a nice cloud, let's say, street towards from the turn point towards southeast, and I joined that line, and I just went on the, let's say, good way to the turn point.
Okay, what was the feeling when you found the last thermals, the last clamps that you really, really need?
Yeah, I observed all the time on the back, most time Sebastian, and I saw that I'm around 10 kilometers in front, and that's why I made a little mistake on the last turn point in Aspre. I saw a very nice cumulus, but it was too far. So I rounded a little bit too long around, but nevertheless,
It was very good for suspense. Thank you. You did a very good race. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Average 119.4 kilometers and 10 points for the day.